everyone, let's have a look at my reading stats of 2019 and goals for 2019 and new goals for 2020. So I didn't really have that many goals for 2019 and didn't track that many specific things. But I had my reading goal set for 70 books as I usually do. And I'm very happy to say that I finished 91 books last year. 34 of those were read in physical form, 14 were ebooks, and a total of 43 were audiobooks. Now, the amount of audiobooks is clearly a side effect of me being out walking for 290 hours last year, and I also ran for 50 hours. So that helped with the high amount of books I read. I'm very happy with that. I read a total of 14,693 pages and listened to 24,876 minutes. I'm very happy with my reading year when it comes to the amount I read. Now, when it comes to the goals I had, I mainly wanted to finish the two projects I was working on. I wanted to finish my Russian Lit project, which was to read the 11 Russian classics that were mentioned in the Anna Karenina fix so that I could read the Anna Karenina fix. And I'm very happy to say I managed that. Another project I was working on was to finish the Dark Tower series, and I also managed to read the last books in that series. I'm very happy about that. Another main goal for me was to reduce the books on my TBR that were bought before 2019. So I started the year with 18 books, and unfortunately I went to London in January. So by the end of January, my TBR was already back up to 31 books. But going into 2020, I only have 12 books on my TBR, one audiobook, one ebook, which were bought in 2019, and two books that were not bought in 2019. I'm very happy with that. I hope to continue that this year to keep reading the books that I bought before 2020 and prioritize them so that I will at some point only have books in my TBR that were acquired this year, and I want to keep not stacking up books so much, especially digital books. They're easily available right on a click, so I don't need to stack up on them, because I also noticed that with reading my own books, that a lot of those books on my TBR, I kind of lost interest in, which is also the side effect that I DNF'd 7 books last year. I'm not a big DNFer, so that's really amazing for me. Let's look a little bit more at some stats, what those books were that I read. I didn't really track much, like I said before. I wanted to continue series. That's an ongoing goal for me because I often start series, but then I never read the second or the third book. I'm happy to say that in 2019, I read 14 books that were part of a series and that I continued reading those series. Unfortunately, I also read 11 books that count as part of a new series. Some of those are already caught up on the series or finished the series, so they're not in the series continued. But yeah, I have a series problem with series, and I really don't know how to say this series properly, if you haven't noticed. Anyways, moving on. Aside from series, I also like to reread. So I'm really happy to see that I reread 14 things last year. I was really, really happy about that. I'm not really paying attention to this while I'm reading, but I like to look back at it at the end of the year and see how I did. The same with nonfiction. I don't usually have a goal of how much nonfiction I want to read, but in 2019 I read 14 nonfiction books. I think most of them were on audio, but that doesn't matter. It's still 14 nonfiction. I also read 13 classics, mostly also on audio, which is actually something I want to continue. I really enjoyed picking up classics on audio last year. So I want to continue and have that as a goal for 2020 to listen to more classics on audio. I'm also very happy to see that I read 9 translated works. I really enjoy that. I don't really pay attention when I buy books to that. That's just something I noticed, and I like that. Maybe I want to pay more attention to that this year. Well, definitely, well, it's not translated books. It's the last book I read in 2019 was a German book, and it made me realize again that I haven't read a German book by a German author in ages. And I want to read more. So I'm very happy to join Mel and Britta on their project to read more German books this year. And let's see how that works out. Let's look at statistics where I really didn't pay any attention to this year. I really don't like to research authors that much. I basically categorized them loosely as male and female, and that was all that I was tracking. And I noticed at the end of the year that I read books by 44 female authors and by 25 male authors. Reading series means you read multiple books by the same author. So I was very surprised by this because I really didn't pay attention to that. So my reading for 2019, I'm very happy with that. For 2020, I want to keep up and continue what I started, keeping my TBR low, rereading, reading and continuing series that I catch up on that. Maybe start less, but I just know that won't happen. I also want to keep reading classics and the German authors. Maybe read some more translated fiction. I don't know. There's no real goal for that, but I think that I have a lot more freedom now that my TBR is so low and I'm not stuck in specific, precise reading projects that take up a lot of time. And so I don't really want to start a specific closed up reading projects. Yeah. 70 books for the year as usual, and everything else I'll see at the end how I did. Let me know how your reading was. How are your reading goals for 2020? Let's talk books, people. Books. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.